Maybe you're new to anime or you're trying to recommend anime for your friends and you're not sure what to recommend. Well, today I'm going to be giving you guys the best recommendations for beginners when watching anime. I'm going to go over if you like certain other shows or certain types of media, what you should be watching. These are the best shows you can start off with as a beginner. First off, we're going to start off with probably what a lot of people start off with, and that's really any of the big three. This is if you are ready to dive straight into the deep end. These are three of the most popular anime of all time, and for good reason. A lot of people start off with them because a lot of people recognize the names. However, they are incredibly long, so I will say I wouldn't start with the big three unless if you are super willing to dive straight into the deep end. If not, I would not start with them. However, they are great choices because they are very easy for everybody to get into, hence why they are so popular. And if you're also trying to start out where you have friends recommend you shorter anime, just be careful of certain ones because, for example, one of my favorite anime of all time, Cowboy Bebop, it is short and it is phenomenal. However, I don't think it's a great anime to start with. It's very heavy hitting and I think it'll give people the wrong perception of how things work. I think when you start off with an anime, you need to start off with something that has a little bit of everything, which is why I think the big three is a good option if you're willing to dive in deep. But Cowboy Bebop is obviously just something that's like super serious a lot of the time and doesn't have a whole lot of everything, I guess. What you guys should do though is if you enjoy this video and enjoy anime content, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, upload anime videos 3 times a week, so I would love to see you guys again. We'll move on to another one. Full Metal Alchemist I think would be a pretty solid start. Shows like Full Metal, Hunter x Hunter, I think they're kind of similar. They are relatively decent in length, like they're not super short, and they have a lot of really good content. They have the emotional moments, they have the fun moments, they have great storytelling, great characters. Both of those shows, Full Metal and Hunter x Hunter, are great starts for a lot of people, because they kind of give you all of it like the big three do, but they are a lot shorter. However, they're not too short to be like, all right, what next? You know, you kind of get a good grasp of where to go from there. I think Full Metal and Hunter x Hunter are pretty solid choices. We have a newer Gen 1 here. I think Jujutsu Kaisen is actually a very solid start to anime because JJK is very good at introducing people to a lot of, I don't want to say like anime tropes, but anime styles and feels and stuff. Like, I don't want to call JJK basic, but it's super like beginner friendly, I guess. Like if you watch JJK, you would understand it pretty easily. It doesn't feel like too out there when other shows can. I think JJK is a very solid option to start with. Another one as well, it is a little bit longer and just wrapped up, but we do have My Hero, and the only reason I say that is because My Hero translates super easily from other stuff. Like if you like superhero shows and movies, you'll like My Hero. It's a superhero show, you know? I think it's very easy to like My Hero. It's just, it is a little bit longer, and so I could see people not wanting to start with it, and especially the fan base and stuff. Do you really want to get them introduced on a fan base like that? I don't know, but if you stay out of the fan base, the show is genuinely phenomenal. I have another one that I'm kind of 50-50 on, which we have Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer, I'm just not quite too sure if I would actually recommend it, because a lot of people do start with Demon Slayer, and the reason why is because it's really simple, it looks pretty to the naked eye, and yeah, that's pretty much it. However, Demon Slayer is not really the best show. I think there's definitely better stuff to start with, but if you want something just super simple, really easy to understand, then go for Demon Slayer. Also, a lot of people that say they're new to anime, they don't realize that they watched a lot as a kid. Pokemon is absolutely an anime. Beyblade is absolutely an anime. If you watched Doraemon growing up, that was also an anime. Digimon, right? Like, you have watched a lot of them that are just more like childish anime, but even a lot of them like Pokemon and Beyblade are still watchable to this day, so I wouldn't necessarily call them as childish. So a lot of people have kind of started and they don't even realize it. If you enjoyed Pokemon, there are definitely other anime you will enjoy. Same with Beyblade, same with Doraemon, like all those. There are other anime you will enjoy if you enjoyed those. Now, another thing I want to mention as well is I would not, the only show, there's very few shows I would recommend as your first anime that are not finished. Like we talked about One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. I think those are acceptable, but a lot of shows I would not watch if they are not finished as a beginner, because I think as a beginner it's very important to get through that first show and, you know, kind of feel like, okay, is this ready for me to move on? But for the next, we have Attack on Titan. Now, if you guys know my channel, I personally don't like Attack on Titan because I don't like Titans. However, I do think it's a great beginner show to watch. I mean, it introduces you to a unique world, unique characters, unique powers, everything like that. It has almost everything. The only thing Attack on Titan doesn't really have is like fun moments. So that's probably the only thing about it that I would maybe stay away from, is that it doesn't have a lot of really fun moments. It still is a good beginner anime, but like I said, for a beginner show, you kind of want to have it all, and Attack on Titan has most of it, but not all of it. Another one I'd actually really strongly recommend if you are willing to go back and watch a really old anime, I would actually say Yu Yu Hakusho. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is so beginner friendly because especially if you were somebody that watched Beyblade or Pokemon growing up, it's not childish like that at all, but it gives off a similar vibe in the funny moments that it has. So you could relate to a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho. I feel like it translates very well from actual shows, which is the reason why it was one of the first ever big anime to get an adaptation. I mean, the only really big anime that came out before it was really Dragon Ball. I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho was probably the second anime at its level to be made. So there's a reason it got made, because it translated well to a lot of audiences. So I would recommend Yu Yu Hakusho if you're willing to go back that far. However, I know a lot of people probably want to see better animation and stuff when they're starting out, but I really would recommend it. It's a great show to start on. I think another one that could be kind of cool is if you like historical stuff and stuff like that. I think Samurai Champloo could be really cool for people to watch as well. It is a short one. It has a lot going on. It's not necessarily as heavy as some of his other works like Cowboy Bebop. It is very easy to get into Samurai Champloo. Even for somebody who doesn't like samurais, that being me, I still thought it was very entertaining, and I thought it was really great to watch. So I think Samurai Champloo is genuinely a really good watch for a lot of people. It introduces you to a very influential show, even though not really that popular. It kind of inspired a lot of stuff going forward. Like, all the lo-fi music literally came from this anime, by the way. If you're not familiar, it invented lo-fi music, which is pretty cool. So Samurai Champloo has a lot going for it. Lastly, though, I only have one left on here, and we're going to go with Soul Eater. I think Soul Eater is also very phenomenal to start off with. I will say I don't like the anime ending of Soul Eater. It is pretty bad, but that's besides the point. Soul Eater introduces you to a lot of good stuff. It has everything to it, but the best thing I think it has about it is the animation to this day still looks really good. The characters are still really good, and I think it really kind of shows you the level of which anime can, build on characters more than like a real life show can, because it's definitely a little different. It's easier to get emotional value out of real people, but with the anime characters, it is easier to build up their character, and that's a great example in Soul Eater, so I would recommend that as well. It's also a pretty good length. If you enjoyed this video, or if you have any other recommendations for people that maybe I didn't list, let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, hopefully this helps some of you guys out wanting to watch new stuff if you're very new to the space and want to watch better things. Or if you are trying to recommend people stuff and they maybe don't want to listen to you, point them to this video, and I promise they will enjoy one of these shows. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. See you later. Peace.